It has been a week since the return prayer event and Franklin Graham's prayer walk in our nation's capital. Organizers of both gatherings are hoping for true repentance and revival in America. Here now to talk about what could be next for America is Regent University Dean Dr. Corney Becker. Always good to have you back on the broadcast. Thank you. Just a week after this prayer event, we are dealing with another national situation. The announcement that President Donald Trump and his wife Melania Trump have tested positive for COVID-19. How do we respond to this spiritually?
The scriptures are very clear about it. And by the way, it seems that the nation has been brought to our knees, right? And there's only one way forward. We have to cry out to God. The Apostle Paul writes to his disciple Timothy, and he says it is of tremendous importance that prayers, petitions, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made for every person, but especially for those people that are in authority. It is time for us to pray.
And obviously in a situation like this, you would think that this is the president of the free world, the president of the United States. How is it possible that he can catch, and he and his wife can catch such a deadly disease? And I'm sure it must shake people up that this is very real, obviously.
I think the effect is not only here in America, but around the world.
Yeah.
And it seems that this is an election for the world.
And I remember when Prime Minister Boris Johnson got infected with the disease. I mean, it sent shockwaves around the world that a world leader of his stature would get it. And now we have the President of the United States. Right. Yeah. We've been doing a lot of stories about this protest and praise rallies around the country in these these sort of flashpoints in different cities. What is God telling us in the midst of these difficult times? What is he begging us to do?
Billy Graham famously once said, when we come to the end of ourselves, we find the beginning of God. And I cannot help but to hear the echo of the Exodus in the Old Testament, where people cried out to God. And it's so beautiful. The book of Exodus said that God heard their cries, saw their pain, and he knew them intimately and delivered them. That's where we are right now.
Do you think we're on the precipice of another great awakening?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No matter who I speak to, everybody is sensing the same thing, that God, by his mighty Spirit, is indeed pulling people closer to him, crying out to him. Ultimately, Christ is the only answer.
And in the midst of these very difficult times, very divided times, people of faith, as you can see in these videos from around the country, people of faith are really saying, politics, whether Democrat or Republican, is really not the answer, right?
Right. There's ultimately only one eternal kingdom and only one eternal Lord, and that's Jesus Christ.
Do you have an encouraging word for us in the midst of these very trying times?
Most important thing, it's not time to give up. Yeah. God has not given up on America. Yeah. It is time for us to go to our knees and pray for God's deliverance.
All right, Dr. Corney Becker, as always, thank you so much for your word of encouragement and your spiritual insight. Always a pleasure to have you on the broadcast.